Welcome back. This is Richard Golson. We're taking a look at NetLab 13, configuring vSAN Datastore. We're in the final task, task 3, where we assign and view a virtual machine on a vSAN Datastore. So we can see here that I've already selected the virtual machine under the hosts and clusters node, and it's Linux 01. And if we take a look here, it's not powered on, and we're going to leave it powered off, and we'll do a storage migration. And you'll see that it currently consumes 3.26 gigabytes. If we take a look down here, we can see that it's stored on Datastore 1. So on Datastore 1, it's consuming 3.26 gigabytes. And you'll also note down below there are no storage policies applied to it. All right, great. So let's go ahead and do a migration. Pretty easy to do. I'll go ahead and right-click on that, select Migrate. We're going to change storage only. So we're on that Migrate Linux 01 page, selecting the migration type, change storage only. So we migrate the virtual machine storage to a compatible Datastore cluster. All right, let's hit the next button here. So on the select storage page, we're going to leave the keep existing VM storage policies selected in the VM storage policy drop-down box. You can see that right there. All right. And we'll select the vSAN Datastore. And there you go. And notice what it does is it tells you that that storage policy is defined in the formatting of the virtual disk is defined in the VM storage policy. It tells us down here under compatibility that the vSAN storage consumption would be 8 gigabytes of disk space and 0 bytes of reserved flash space. It's not currently running, so it doesn't need any flash space. So we're going to consume 8 gigabytes of that 14.98 gigabyte volume. So it's going to consume a good chunk. We'll hit the next on here. There we go. We have our little review. We hit our finish button. And then let's monitor the recent tasks, and we'll see that it's currently being migrated over. When it's done, we'll come back and we'll take a look at it. Okay, welcome back. If we take a look in here under recent tasks, we can see that our virtual machine has completed relocating. If we take a look up here, we can see that the storage consumed has now increased. And so we're now at 5.43 gigabytes. So we knew that was going to increase. Remember, this has been stored redundantly. And if I scroll down and we take a look down here, we can see it is now placed on the vSAN Datastore for storage. We didn't move it up from the host, so it's still assigned to ESXi1. And if we come down here, we can see for storage policies, it's using the vSAN default storage policy. So now it's using that, and it shows it says it is compliant. So we're good to go on there. Let's go ahead and shift back over to the vSAN Datastore. So I'll go ahead and select that here. And if we take a look here on the capacity overview, you can see that the capacity, the amount of data actually written to that has increased. And if we take a look here at the capacity history, we can see that we can actually modify this slightly. So let's take a look here, and we'll go custom, and we'll actually set it to a much shorter time period to make things a little bit easier to view. We'll set it to the 23rd, and then, oops, try that one more time. We want to select it 23rd, and then we'll tell it that we just want like the last hour. Show the results, and you can see that our total capacity hasn't changed, but of course our free capacity has been reduced. And so we went from about 13.87 gigabytes of free capacity to 11.18. Our used capacity has increased. Great, so we've taken a look at that. The next thing I want to do is take a look at the virtual machine itself and the vSAN data store. So we'll go ahead and select the VMs node here. And if we select Linux 01, you can see that, oops, didn't mean to do that. I went a little too far. Let me go back a step here. We select VMs. We can see the Linux 01 is residing in the data store. And another thing that's interesting to look at, if we look at our files and we take a look at the Linux 01, we can see that there's all the log files and the VMX file, the VMSD file, the VMDK. So all the files you would expect have been transferred over. So we're all good there. If we go back to VMs, we'll go ahead and click on the Linux 01 link. And now we've got Linux 01 in the window. We'll go ahead and select the monitor, and we're going to take a look at something that's kind of interesting. And so we can see down here we have this vSAN node here, and we can look at the actual physical disk placement, what physical disks the files are placed on. And you can see over here that we have both VM home and hard disk 1. So viewing the virtual object components that make up that Linux 01 virtual machine, we should notice where the witness resides on hard disk 1 and which host the component resides. So taking a look here, we can see hard disk 1. Here's witness. Here's the components. Notice that witness is residing on ESXi 03, and the components are mirrored on ESXi 02 and ESXi 01. That essentially ends the lab. So have some fun with it. Hope you find this video helpful, and we'll see you in another video. Thank you.